and now it's time to get into our second topic, another very important topic impacting our CCSD students, mental health. And again, let's go ahead around the table and introduce yourselves.
My name is Nyla Gardner. I'm in 12th grade and I go to Foothill High School. And the reason I joined the Superintendent's Council is because I want to have a voice for the students that aren't able to have one.
My name is Alyssa Freeman. I go to Las Vegas High School. I'm a senior, and I joined the council so I could be a voice for my school and for my peers.
Hi, my name is Magali Zacarias. I go to Secta High School, and I joined the council because it's just a really good opportunity for my school and for myself to bring back all of the knowledge from all the other schools that we can better and help our community.
I love that.
And my name is Spencer Oceans. I'm a senior at West Career and Technical Academy, and I joined SAC so that I could have a platform to advocate for change.
Oh, I love it that you're all a voice and you're advocating for your fellow students. And we are going to talk about mental health again. It's something that's very important right now. So many students are dealing with it for various reasons, whether, the aftermath of the pandemic to stuff that they're going through at home, and also bullying, a big issue. What are some of the issues impacting students right now in the Clark County School District that you see at your particular school when it comes to mental health?
I personally see a lot of social media when it comes to mental health because it shows a false reality in some sort of way. Living in a perfect reality, especially in high school, is unrealistic, and it's just not helping them with the workload and the school load and looking at colleges and just trying to get through everyday life. I think social media is playing a really big role in just not making it better.
And you know what, I can tell you, I agree with you, because had we had social media when I was growing up, it would be a whole different thing. That's something that we didn't have to deal with. What are some of the issues that you're seeing?
No, yeah, I was definitely going to touch on what Nyla said, especially because I was thinking that exact same thing, especially because social media is being used so prevalently now, especially to promote a lot of our things that we're doing, especially as a student council member and someone who is an ambassador for the ITV production, which is a lot of our social media usage. I feel like, agreeing with you, we are constantly comparing ourselves, and it's just, I 100% agree.
So with that, how are you helping your fellow students, or what are you doing to make sure that that doesn't impact your mental health?
Well, you have to reduce it on your own because you can't just tell everyone to stop using social media. It's very big in our lives, but I do run my speech and debates social media account. So making sure that we post positive things and making sure that we post things that make people happy, don't show that people are happy and enjoying themselves, and not just false things of only winning and only these things. We have to show our losses too.
I love that.
Yeah, and I agree. And also making sure that you involve other clubs and activities to be a part of it.
What about you?
Along with that social media, but it's along a different route. It's students talking about each other and constantly gossiping with each other instead of comparing. Because a lot of the time they're like, oh, someone said this about me. It just causes a lot of problems and a lot of anger. Oh, she was talking about me. She was posting about me. I don't understand. And just constantly talking bad about each other.
How do you deal with that?
I just try to stay off social media as much as I can. I involve myself in other activities or hobbies that I can, so I can just let it go or not and interact with it.
And it's okay to take a social media break. I do it all the time. It's important as an adult to do that as well. Again, it's this double-edged sword, right? You needed to get information, but at the same time, there's so much negativity out there that it does impact you, no matter your age.
Yeah, I think there's mental health taboo to the point where we kind of neglect that it exists. And I want to be part of the generation that redefines mental health, because I think it's very important to have an open dialogue about mental health and be able to go to people where you can openly talk about your feelings. I'm very fortunate that I have adults in my life and friends where I can have those open conversations.
And for those who don't have that at home or adults, that's where you come in, right? And how are you helping your fellow students?
I think just sitting down at the lunch table and having an open conversation. We live in a very polarizing world where we're divided, and we have all of these external forces that want to divide us, for example, politically. But being able to sit down and have an honest conversation about your day is unbelievably healthy.
Yeah, and helping out the students who might be getting bullied, because that is, again, that was an issue when I was growing up. It's, spanned generations. And how are you helping those students who, are sitting alone maybe by themselves because they are being bullied or because they don't have the latest designer fashion or whatever they might be going through at home? How are you helping your fellow students?
Well, just being open, and if you see someone that's sitting alone, you have to invite them over. Like, even if you're like, your friends are like, don't invite them over, don't invite them over. Be open, because what if they're going through a really rough day, and just asking them to sit with you, even if they say no and they don't want to sit with you, is just making that difference. Like, smiling at someone makes the biggest difference every day.
And like you said, that smile, just that, inviting them could change their life and possibly save a life.
Yes, and I 100% agree with you, especially just giving compliments sometimes. And I also think it's important to get involved. I know a lot of times you don't want to get involved or you don't want to make someone feel uncomfortable, but sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. And I think that's something that needs to be talked about a lot.
And you are our eyes. Again, you're out there. Sometimes the teachers or the parents or, the counselors that are not seeing this, and you guys are the ones who are out there. What are some of the programs that have been implemented at your school to help the students?
Yeah, we have a program that's implemented all around CCSD, Safe Voice, and it's like a online anonymous hotline that you can call or text or email or anything if you ever need any sort of help regarding mental health, bullying, a specific situation. If you feel the comfort that you're not like, oh, I don't want to snitch, I don't want to deal with the repercussions. It leaves it totally anonymous, so it's like I can freely say this, I can help someone in need, I can help myself, and just help any person in our district.
And what else?
Yeah, so my school has brought mental health to the classroom. Our administration implemented a hope campaign where every month we learn about the different lenses of hope and how to take advantage of hope.
And what other programs does your school or CCSD have right now to help you out?
We have Hope Squad, which is a group of students that are around us every day that we walk with in the halls, and they meet separately, just like student council, and they host spirit weeks, but they're weeks of respect, where they put certain things like words of affirmation on your backpack, or they'll give you mints that have words of affirmation on them, and they will go together to make sure that everyone that needs help will get it.
I love it.
Yes, I 100% agree. I know at my school we also do have a Hope Squad, but it's not something that's talked about enough, kind of what Spencer was saying. It's very much underground. I know that they do a lot at our school, but I personally do not know. It's just something that Spencer said, it needs to be talked about a lot more and campaigned.
My biggest takeaway from SAC is that resources exist. We're just not taking advantage of them, and we need to increase the visibility. One way we could do that is social media, but as you alluded to earlier, it's absolutely a double-edged sword.
Yeah, but again, it's also important to get the information out, right, as well, the proper information. I do want to say that during one of your meetings, you heard about the role of social workers within your schools. You were given some stats, and I want to go over some of those stats. We're going to put those up. There are only 182 school social workers for about 290,000 CCSD students. 122 different schools have a social worker, 253 don't. That is one school social worker for every 1,593 students. The national ratio is 1 to 250 students. How surprised were you to hear these numbers and what needs to be done?
Yeah, as a future educator myself, I know all of the things that we're missing in our district and districts all around the country or around the world specifically. We're lacking counselors, teachers, support staff, and social workers. So I wasn't really shocked to hear these numbers, which I am very disappointed and have hope that we're gonna get through this and get all of these support for our students, but I was not very shocked.
Oh, wow, well, thank you. I'm future educator here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Within CCSD, I was not too surprised, especially since we did have a teacher shortage. So, and especially because a lot of other schools I have talked to, a lot of their leaders don't even know what a social worker is or have it implemented within their school.
Now, have you visited, your school has a social worker, correct?
Do.
Have you visited with your social worker?
I haven't visited her with a meeting, but I have talked to her, and I see her working, and she is so helpful for all the students. She's so welcoming and able to have a real conversation and not feel uncomfortable.
So out of your 4 schools, do you have a social, I know you do,
Yes.
you do.
I do.
And your school does not. Okay, but you have wonderful counselors. You mentioned it
Wonderful
as well.
counselors, yes.
Now, how do you plan to work with your counselors and your social workers at your school to help your fellow students? What are you planning to do?
I know counselors and social workers are very similar in a way, and I love how our counselors sometimes come into our classrooms with presentations to explain what they do or how they can help us.
Yeah.
And I feel if social workers were to do the same thing, that would be very beneficial to put a face to the name.
I've actually talked with my social worker, the wonderful Miss Lewis Sutton. Yeah, we are coming up with a plan right now to help our students or get it out there that she is there. She is a help that our students are able to get. We're going to focus on, social media because our school has a very big presence online and our accounts are really shown in our students, and all of our students follow the accounts on Instagram. So having those, because we don't really have we have a social worker. It's on our website, but students don't really go into depth in our website.
So it's a matter of you also helping your fellow students, getting the word out. What about you and your counselor?
So we have one-on-ones at our school. I don't know about you guys, but my mental health, a lot of my anxiety is derived from academic stress. So having one-on-ones with my academic counselor helps me prepare for the future and lay out a roadmap, which, I don't know, to me helps kind of mitigate that stress.
And I love that you're so open about that, because a lot of times there is this shame, right, that you have anxiety. I know I have it, or that you're going through whatever you might be going through at home. And it's okay, right, to talk about it. And that's what's so important. I love that. Don't be ashamed to talk about that, because that's going to help you out. I do want to ask another thing that I did notice when you guys were giving your recommendation was that in your feedback that it was suggested that mental health days should be implemented for students. Now, how many days would you suggest and why?
I feel like once a month is really good because you just need that break sometimes, but you don't want it so often to where we have to elongate school, because that would just make it even worse. So once a month or once every 2 months, just to give everyone that break.
I love it.
I 100% agree. I said once a month as well, but then after talking with Mangali, she made a point that sometimes you're not only going to have a mental health problem once a month, and you need more than one day. So I think my stance is kind of changing on this. So she said 2 to 4, but instead of 2 just in a year or within a semester, I think there should be 2 to 4 or 2 to 4 within a month.
Yeah, I totally said 4 to 5 a year or semester, because a lot of things can happen really quickly within time. What you can be fine one day and completely wreck the other. So having those days available that don't impact I have unexcused absences, I don't have any more. So they're worried about that instead of worrying on fixing their mental health or that break that they may need. So having those 4 to 5 days that they can use whenever, I think would be good.
Yeah, how about you?
We're such a vibrant school district. I believe we're the 5th largest school district in the country. So I don't know if there's a one-size-fits-all program to accommodate for all of our schools, but I would advocate for a change of regular programming. So instead of going from class A to B to C to D, maybe going from class A to B to having a little lunch party with your class and then class C to D.
Well, thank you so much. I have a big smile as Tia Maria to 26 nephews and nieces. I know they're in good hands, especially with students like yourselves. Thank you for what you're doing. And again, so proud of each of you. I'm adopting you. I'm Tia Maria to all of you now. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Big smile on my face.